What up, everybody? Welcome to the IAG Thursday thing. This thing we do every Thursday, even when it's not a Thursday, and we're doing it on a Wednesday. I apologize now. My voice is gone. Gridlife, Carolina Motorsports Park was pretty wild, and it's a lot of yelling and a lot of good times and a lot of crazy stuff happening, and I can still hardly talk. But today, we're joined as usual by my partner in crime, Warranty. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. I have possession of the coilovers that I bought and the tires that I bought, and I'm on the schedule at Six Star Motorsports to get the coilovers installed. So you'll be very happy to hear about that.
I am
How are
happy
you,
to hear
sir?
about that. I'm okay. We had a weekend, man, and that's what we're gonna go over in this episode. We had a weekend, so hopefully my voice holds out through it.
Yeah.
Also
From what
joined
you told me
by
this week.
executive producer Jordan, who is in the same room as me right now. Jordan, how you doing?
A little tired. Just drove 9 hours.
He drove 9 hours to come down and grab my BRZ because he's going to be driving it this year.
Yep.
So, yeah, welcome to Tennessee.
Oh, hey, Tennessee's nice so far, minus the one manure truck that dropped a load in the middle of the road.
Okay.
And I ran over a
Shit
patch.
happens.
Yeah, quite literally, shit happened.
Then I also want to thank Randy. He makes our thumbnails and helps us with a lot of our ideas for this. Warranty couldn't have given us a creepier thumbnail for last week's. It seriously looked like it was straight out of The Shining, and so we decided to roll with it. Let us know what you think about the thumbnail from last week's, because it was just strange. It was the oddest thing anybody's ever sent.
I liked it. I liked making it. It definitely seemed better in my head, but I'm happy with the result.
What you should have done is really tried to line it up so it was like one of those what's the movie director that does everything at like really straight angles? It's like Wes something.
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson. Yeah, you should have taken like a Wes Anderson picture. No, I mean, you weren't far from it, but the slight angle you put on it made it look like The Shining.
He did look overly happy in those pictures.
Yeah, way too happy.
Yeah.
In this really creepy environment with a lot of strange things on the wall, and this dog who is just like, why am I here?
Yeah, he totally was. Yep.
And you're holding a coilover.
And I'm holding a coilover. That's right.
So we added
It's
an
like a
axe.
portrait. Yep. So, Dewey, we've been talking this week about just recovering from your CMP adventure, and it sounds like the vibes were immaculate, as the kids like to say. So where do you want to start?
I mean, just from an event standpoint, I want to make sure I get this out here. We're going to talk about an overall event standpoint. Gridlife is really stepping it up. This was by far the smoothest I have ever walked into a Gridlife event. And that was with me having to pick up my hard card at the front. It was seconds. And now that I have a hard card, my understanding is I don't even have to check in at the front of any Gridlife event ever again. I just walk in. And
Wild. Oh my
it
God.
is insane. Torque Hub worked really well. That's a thing that it's been a pain point for a lot of people. Torque Hub's working really well. Now, just the event in general, the vibes were incredible. If you guys haven't been to the South Carolina event, if you're anywhere near that area of the country, you should check it out. It was a ton of fun. It's got a real kind of Gingerman vibe to it, but not like Gingerman festival vibe. Like when everybody's really happy and the weather is perfect. Non-festival Gingerman vibe, but with all the cool stuff you want from a festival being there. So it's really weird. But it was great. Like everybody was really, really happy. Like the people coming in and out. I couldn't believe the amount of people who came up. You know, ton of podcast listeners, But the amount of people came up to Dylan and I specifically and were like, man, we've been following you guys forever. And, you know, you're the reason we're building a GC. And like, it was really wild to hear that. We got a ton of that this week, more so than I have it. I think any event I've ever been to. And that's an area of the country, I got to be real, I don't hang out at a lot, you know, so it was super cool to see that. And, you know, we had people hanging out around our pit area till like 11 o'clock at night.
That's cool.
And
Yeah.
I mean, we had a rough weekend, I'm not going to lie. And by all accounts, you know, Dylan and I will be the first to tell you, we had a rough weekend. It was some extraordinarily late nights every night. And we were beat. Okay. The car getting there was rough, and we'll go over all this, but we both walked away with like, dude, that was a great weekend. So I guess we'll just kind of start from the top. I showed up at 3 a.m. Okay.
Naturally.
Oh, God.
Well, it was 3 a.m. the night before. So the event you were able to get in at 6 p.m. on Thursday, I showed up at 3 a.m. Thursday morning, because it just felt better to drive the whole way through. So I just knocked it out. I ended up, thanks to Jamie Santos, sneaking into it was like the test day that the track itself was putting on. So I snuck in and hung out with him that day. Kind of just slept in the car and made it work. Dylan took off early. Was supposed to be a 9-hour trip, but it turned into an 18-hour trip because something is wrong with the trailer and it is like sagging in the front. We can't quite figure out exactly why. There's something wrong with like one of the front axles. So we're going to have to look into that, but it ate a tire.
Oh, no.
So it turned into an 18-hour trip. Long story short.
That's absurd.
Yeah. Well,
So you
but
had-
what's up?
Go ahead. Keep going. I'll jump in.
So either way, he got another tire on there, and what he did is he got as much weight as humanly possible out of the trailer and shoved it into the RV, and then moved the weight he could around in the trailer, and managed to get the rest of the way. So he got there, and we got it figured out. It sucked because what we thought was going to be noon, 1 o'clock, ended up being 10 at night, and he was beat. I was beat. I thought he was going to be there midday and we weren't going to be able to get in till 6. So I'm like, dude, I'll take a midday siesta. It's going to be great. Right.
Yeah.
Guess not. So what you do loading it back up after the end of the weekend?
The
Just
exact same thing.
Same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to load it at weird angles and whatever we can do to get as much weight. And that's how it kind of sits right now. So we're not 100% sure what we're going to do with that yet. So
You already had upgraded your trailer because you learned the hard way that your axles weren't rated to carry a car. And so that all got fixed. So it sounds like it's
we
letting you
don't
down.
know. We
Okay.
need to take it to a trailer repair place and have them take a look at it. I have a few
Okay,
different
yeah.
theories. I have a theory that it's not even the trailer itself. It might be might be the hitch. Like the actual frame for the hitch on the RV maybe is sitting lower than we thought it should, or has been sitting lower for a
Okay.
long period of time. I don't know. A lot of ideas floating around.
Possible.
here, okay?
Even if that was
Yeah,
the case, wouldn't the whole front end dip, not just one side?
You would think.
Because it's just a bumper pump
Yeah.
pull. So
I'm so
it is a
confused
bumper
right
pull.
now as to what's causing this, so we don't know. I wish I
Dewey does-
had a real answer for you. I don't, because
That's
we had a
weird.
bunch of good old boy, reasonably smart people all look at it, and everybody was like, nobody could definitively say that's the problem.
are the axles straight axles?
They're torsion axles, but I don't
okay.
exactly know how those work. I gotta be real. I'm not a trailer expert, folks. If you're here for trailer advice, this ain't it.
Okay, you got homies. You got people. You got smart people. So
We got smart people. We're gonna get a trailer
Yeah.
repair place. So either way,
Yep.
trailers being
you do
a
it around here or in Tennessee or in Chicago or what?
where the trailer place, or
Yeah.
where's the trailer at? The trailer's back in Maryland, so we'll have somebody around there take a look
Oh,
at
you're
it.
gonna somebody around there. Okay.
Yeah. So either way,
All right, so you made it. It's not the first time that it's been a complete disaster getting you to the event.
are you kidding?
So
It's
you
always
got
a
to the
complete
event.
disaster getting to the
Always a
event.
disaster.
It is
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens simple. Okay.
No,
So
you
he gets to the
just because
event.
it's not a race car.
Okay. We're beat and we get stuff set up and we're getting ready to go out in the morning. We actually were thinking about skipping the morning session, but it ended up being dry and the car was pretty much ready to go. So we decided to go out for the morning session to take a peek. Now the day before, I want to thank Mike Coons, who allowed me to hop in with him. He took me for a spin in the passenger seat on the test day that he had paid for, and it kind of gave me an idea. I'd watched a lot of video of this track, but it's different when you actually see it in real life. You see some things that you can't see on video, weird camber changes, distance, stuff like that. So it kind of gave me a pretty good vibe of where I was going on the track. So I can't thank him enough. I think I gave him a couple of pointers that really helped him. And it showed with some pretty good results this weekend too. But so in the morning, I kind of had a decent vibe of what was going on. So changes that were made to the car since last time this thing has been out. Okay, let's just talk about the basic stuff. We got the new G35 1050 Gen 2. So we were making a little more jam, but it did come on a hair later. Really didn't affect much. We're just gonna go. It's basically the same thing. We did some small suspension changes, and some ride height changes. And the whole thing was aimed at trying to get rid of the hopping. We added the new Vitour P1 Tempesta tires. We'll get to those in a minute. And then the big thing is the Volvo power steering pump. So it's an electric power steering pump that powers the 2015 STI rack we run. And that is rear mounted and in the location that it's in. So due to that, there was some other changes that need to be made because that pump draws an absurd amount of electricity. We have this giant alternator now. If the alternator on the RV ever fails, I'm running jumper cables from Boogey. I'm just idling Boogey and it'll run that RV. It is ridiculous how monstrous this thing is. So long story short, got all this set up. We go out for the first session. Now this power steering pump, it has like an adjustment knob. We went and got this controller piece that allows us to turn up the assist amount. Okay. What we're worried about is if we ran it on crank full high, that it would get hot. So we decided to start about halfway, and I'd go out in the session, mess around with a little bit to see what made sense. So first time we ever really drove on it. Dylan really hadn't had a chance to play with it too much. And it seemed to work fine driving in and out of the shop and on the dyno and stuff like that. But he hasn't, there's been no time. This was our shakedown. So I want to preface this whole thing. We weren't even planning on going to this event. I didn't have tickets to this event till less than a week before the event itself because we were holding out because we didn't know if we'd even have a car to put together to take to the event. If the second the sequential trains showed up, we were going to tear the car apart. We had it together because we were doing testing for Garrett, but we really hadn't taken a whole lot of stuff apart. When it looked like the window was going to be there to go, we decided it made sense. We bought tickets and went. And I got tickets at a stupid discount. I literally paid like $300 for these tickets. Okay, so if you think about it, that's cheaper than you could do an HPDE most of the time. So why wouldn't we? You know what I mean? So I grabbed tickets to it and we went and did it. So no matter what, Dylan and I the entire time were telling each other back and forth that this is a shakedown. Okay. We cannot look at this as competition. This is a shakedown. All right. So we go and we're back to the first session. We go out for the first session and immediately I go into the brakes hard. The first time I go into the brakes hard and go to turn in, it's like it slightly turns in and then it's like the power steering pump turns off.
Oh no.
Now the power steering pump had been running for a while, so our original thought was maybe it was getting hot because like it would turn off, and then a second later, it was almost dead nuts a second too. It would come back on, and then it would be fine until there'd be another heavy power steering event and it would turn off. So I tried a few different things. I'm like, I'm going to turn it way down and run with the least amount of assist I can. Or now I'm going to crank it way up and see if maybe like, if it's got a ton of assist, maybe it's not going to try as hard because it's like overly assisted. I tried both ways, all sorts of stuff. Basically the same thing. You know, what I ended up doing was actually starting to adjust my line a little bit, but went out there and just kind of ran the session, figured out what was going on, make sure the brakes were working. Brakes, by the way, are phenomenal now. And we, you know, it was kind of the same situation. Honestly, it was better than pit race, but it was because pit race was like having anti-power steering in a lot of situations. This was just like randomly it would turn off. So it was bad. And it was almost impossible to fight through, but it wasn't as bad as pit race. So, we went back in and we started trying to come up with different ideas. And, you know, the first thing we started with was let's try to just keep it off until until it works, you know, or until we go out, you know, even try to do your out lap without power steering, do whatever you can without using power steering and just try to put something together. We also went out and scrubbed in those new tires on this session, and we could get a little ways into it, but I was adjusting my line to kind of deal with it too. Okay. So, I was approaching things a little differently, trying to set myself up to not have to use much steering angle, which honestly didn't really help in the end, but went out, scrubbed the tires in. Either way, by the end of the day, we were sitting like second or third or something, which honestly we couldn't really complain about, considering the issues we were having. And we decided that night we were going to make a bunch of changes. We were still getting a little bit of so Dylan had messed around with some ride height stuff, and one thing I did notice is higher speeds. I was getting some understeer. So Dylan decided, we had some conversations. We decided we're going to drop the front a little bit because we still have plenty of roll center to play with. So we decided to drop the front down a little bit because we think when we messed around with the suspension in the rear, we maybe lowered it a little bit. And then our front splitter wasn't sitting where we wanted it to. So the easiest fix to this is just lower the front of the car a little bit. If we've got room to do it, we're fine. So that's what we did. And then we made some other small changes. We just had a whole host of like little things because it was the first time the car was ran that we needed to play with. So we did. The next morning, the car felt a lot better. Like, but the power steering issue was still there. So our theory at that point was it was getting hot. Okay. So we decided to skip the afternoon session. And what I did is I ran into the local town there, which I got to be real. Those people are so nice in that town. They talk about Southern charm. That was the most Southern charm like town I think I have ever been in. Kershaw, I think, South Carolina. Yeah, nicest people. So nice. Either way, I ran into town and I had it in my brain. I'm like, I'm going to go whatever the largest transmission cooler I can get for $100. I'm buying it. So I go to this O'Reilly's Auto Parts and he pulls this little teeny thing out of the back. It's like $30, right? I'm like, man, I got to go bigger than that. That's not going to be enough. He's like, well, let me see what I got. And he goes and grabs like 5 boxes. We start pulling these out to figure out which one the biggest one was. And
Little O'Reilly.
we get to this, like, this thing is massive. And I'm like, dude, this is going to be like $150, but it's really the right answer. So I'm like, all right, man, how much is this thing? $56. I'm
Jesus. No.
Instant buy. Didn't even think about it. So I grabbed a bunch of stuff from O'Reilly's there, and then I ran over to their local hardware store and grabbed some clamps and everything else. And the guy at the hardware store was super cool. And ran back, and we just basically intercepted the return line because it was the easiest one to do it, and added a giant cooler. And from then on out, the pump was ice cold. Okay. Like the pump did not have any, before the pump, when you'd come in, it would be, you could call it hot. It's not like melting down or breaking, but it would be uncomfortably warm to put your hand on.
Yeah.
Okay. After we put this on and you'd come in, the pump would almost be cool. Like it worked extraordinarily well. So temperatures were pulled out of this equation. Whether, unfortunately, it didn't help. But what I did manage to do is we went out for that last session of the day. And without getting into too much drama, there was a guy who was ended up being P2. And I don't think he was very used to being there in an unlimited car with some Hoosiers. So P1 was doing what we normally do at Gridlife and having a fairly fast hot lap, the thing that we tell everybody to do. Well, P2, I guess, did not get that message. And we got like second to the last corner and started just crawling. And he got right near the last corner and then hit it and took off. But what he ended up doing was causing this giant caterpillar effect. And all of us with street tires ended up basically bunching up on each other. So it was a complete freaking disaster. We went, so the second we go and hit this thing and take off, our tires are not even close to warm. Anybody with street tires were not even close to warm. So we had cars sliding all over the place, and it was literally the worst thing ever. So nobody went any faster. And then that dude who crawled ended up having an ECU issue or something and immediately came in. So he didn't even finish a lap. The whole paddock yelled at him, and he feels really bad, and he'll never do it again. And he honestly was a nice guy. After talking to him, he actually came to realize he never even took into account the fact that there are people behind him on street tires, because he doesn't really do time attack all that often. He's running around with like SCCA and NASA groups, and everybody's on Hoosiers, and that's kind of how they do it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Well, good that he realized.
Yeah.
About it.
So it kind of sucked. So then during that session though, as I'm trying to put together a lap, was it that session? Yeah, they ended up black flagging. Did they black flag that session?
I don't remember. I was watching this.
Trying to remember if they black flagged that session or it was No, it wasn't. Oh yeah, that's what happened. Okay. So during that session, I'm putting together something that looks like a pretty damn decent lap. Okay, and I'm pretty happy about it, and I think we would have been mid-35s or so. Finally getting something together, really excited about this, okay? Like, even though I'm fighting the living shit out of it, and I go to grab fourth gear, and there's nothing there.
Uh-oh.
What it felt like is the same way shift fingers feel when they go. Okay. Now, fast forward to what we know now, because we weren't sure what happened, because we had our upgraded shift finger in there, and there's like, dude, you could hang a house from this thing. It was actually like kind of the piece that goes from the finger to the fork broke. Or, well, it didn't break, it like bent. So it was stuck in third. So I was so mad because I'm like, dude, I don't think we would have been in first place, but we would have been very firmly in second, scaring the shit out of first. I finally felt like I actually put together a decent lap, and I had enough power steering that things worked, and then that happened. So I was pretty bummed. I think that was second lap of that. So I come in, I'm thinking weekend's done. Okay, we're not going to do this. And then I hear Jamie Santos is ahead of us. And it wasn't really me. I was ready to eat crow for Jamie. Okay. But Dylan heard Jamie Santos was ahead of us. And Dylan's like, I'll be damned if Jamie's going to beat us. We had the spare trains with us, and this was supposed to be a shakedown, but both of us threw that right in the toilet and started wrenching on the damn car. So
how late were you awake to get that trans in the car?
3 a.m.
Oh, God bless America.
With what was supposed to be a shakedown. Now, with that stated, I do want to say we had a lot of really cool people stop by the tent while we were doing this. We got some incredible video from Foster of watching us do this and us talking. We all were in a really good mood doing it. It was late, it sucked, but we were having a good time. Since we were parked over by Subi Mods, and we're going to talk about this relationship a little bit too. We were parked over by Subi Mods. We were kind of not too far from the stage, and they were doing emo night. And the music was incredible. We had such a good time we kind of had a mini party going over at our pit. So it was a lot of fun. You know, when the music finally left, that sucked, but we had a really good time.
On the car, you're having a party. That's great.
So yeah, it was 3 a.m., but we were having a good time. You know what I mean? Jeremy Bailey stayed up nice and late with us and helped us out for a good majority of it, you know, at least getting the trans lifted into the car. So it all went back together, and you know, we lived to see another day. So wake up in the morning for the second to the last session, that morning session. And the plan was don't run any power steering until your first lap. We made a change in the middle of the night.
What was that?
So we had this controller that we bought, right? And this controller has like a CAN input and all sorts of stuff. So we were reading that this CAN input, you know, it's pulling information from all over the place. If you disconnect it, it basically makes the pump dumb, and it'll just run at 70% all the time. So we're like, if we disconnect it, we might be able to get a lap out of it before it gets mad. Or maybe it'll just ignore the limit that we're hitting. So what it feels like with this power steering right now is I'll go into the brakes. So the front tires are really loaded, and I'll go to turn in, and it'll allow me a little bit. But then it's like it hits some sort of like pressure limit or something. And the second it hits it, it turns the power steering off. Okay. So we thought if we made the pump stupid, it would just try to power through it. I really didn't care if I melted the pump down. It's a $300 pump. You know, at this point, I don't care. The whole setup was going to have to change. So if we got to fry it, let's fry it. Right. Maybe we'll learn something. So we disconnect the CAN thing. We go out with no power steering and fire it up. And I'm getting a full lap out of this. Like this is the best the power steering has felt all weekend. I was elated in how good it was. But that was also the same lap that Ryan Matthews broke his diff. And, you know, yeah, he broke right by start finish line. That didn't really affect us all that much. And then that Miata we talked about earlier blew his engine or something. And then unfortunately black flagged us before I could get to the start finish line.
Okay. So I don't think you talked about the Miata on this podcast episode. So what was that car?
The Miata?
Yeah.
The Miata is the car that I was talking about earlier that went out and did the really slow outlap.
Oh,
it was an unlimited Miata. Yeah, he did that
Okay,
really. It's
okay.
that same guy. He ended up blowing his engine
Same
up
guy.
or something.
Oh,
I don't
that
know. He
poor
had
guy.
some sort of massive
That's-
mechanical, and he parked it in a spot where, unfortunately, they had to black flag it, and it was before I could get to the start finish line. And I was,
Oh, that
it
poor
was a
guy.
bottom 35 on the aim when they hit me with the black flag. I was
That was
so
bottom
pissed.
35?
That was everything was finally going right. And I had power steering all the way into where we were sitting in the pits, and I turned power steering off and everything. And I was telling Dylan, I'm like, I think we're good. I think we're good. And I was so excited to go back out there. And the second we go back out and I hit the power steering button again, it immediately was shit again.
So the bottom 35 was good enough for first place?
I never
second
got
place?
bottom 35 would have put me in first.
Oh, heartbreaking.
Yeah, by what?
So-
How many thousands?
Not much, but it
Yeah.
would have been right in there. So it would have put me, it would have qualified me in first. Understand this isn't podium sprint, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Okay.
Okay.
So after that, your power steering stopped working again.
Yeah,
Even though
it
you
started
were still
doing the
trying to
whole
run the dumb
intermittent
mode?
thing. So I kind of thought, I'm like, we got like at a minimum, we were, I think at this point when we came out of this, we were in fourth. Okay. But we have a plan for podium sprint, and we're gonna be good. Okay. So we've got a plan for podium sprint. We think power steering might cooperate with us. We're gonna, and podium sprint now is supposed to be 3 laps. Okay, this is very key here. Okay, podium sprint is supposed to be 3 laps now, because of the way they're doing it. They're kind of giving us our own mini session per class. Now everybody gets 3 laps. The plan was we're gonna go out. I'm gonna run a hot lap. I'm going to run a cool down lap and turn the power steering off and just kind of like grind through my second lap, and then turn the power steering back on and run one more lap and see where we sit. Okay. That was the idea. So as I'm out there getting ready, one of the guys who runs the pit, they come up and they're like, okay, you understand what's going on and understand the format. I'm like, yeah, I got 3 laps, right? And then he goes, this is how he explains this to me. Now you got to understand, 3, I'm brain. Okay. Everybody's hyped up, and I am not even remotely the only person who heard this and was confused. He goes, out lap, green flag, checker.
That's 3 laps.
Now, when you're saying that sitting here, it sounds like 3 laps.
Wait.
No,
No, it's not, because yeah, I get it. Okay, go on.
Out lap, green flag, checker. So I ask him, I'm like, that sounds like I get 2 hot laps, not 3. How many hot laps do I get? And he told me 2. Now understand, Club TR has already ran, and they all got 3. Okay, so I bet, because we had been watching Jeremy Bailey very closely, and we'll explain that in a minute too.
Sure.
So it was, he told me 2 hot laps, and I'm like, man, that don't sound right. So I called Dylan over. I'm like, what is the format again? He goes, dude, you out lap, 3 hot laps, checkers. Okay. And that makes sense. Okay. So 3 hot laps, right? And then you're checkered flag and you come in. He's like, yeah. I'm like, that is not what that dude just told me. And then I'm like, I'm going to go ask the dude at the front. So I asked the guy who's about to let me out, who is also the guy who does all the announcements over the intercom for Gridlife. I'm like, hey man, I'm just really confused here. The guy back there just said out lap, green flag, checker. Okay. Is that 2 hot laps or 3 hot laps? And he goes 2, and he tells me 2 again. Now, not only do I have this on our camera that's attached to my face, Gridlife has this on their camera that they put in my car. Okay.
Oh.
So says the exact same thing to me. So I'm like, fuck. Okay, I guess I'm just going to grind 2 laps. And I go out there, and my first lap was kind of a disaster. Okay. It's on me, hyped up, really confused, trying to find time where I didn't have time. and we put the spicy 580 tune in it. So I was entering corners a little quicker than I normally would, whatever. Add a million different reasons why I kind of ran a shit lap. And it's just, honestly, it's hard to control a missile without power steering. And go into my second lap and I put something-ish together. Okay. I didn't really even know what time I ran. I just put something together. Come to find out it was like a 37 flat. So, and then I come in and then I see other cars still on track and I am livid. I don't know what place I'm in. I don't even care. I asked 2 people how many hot laps I got. Both of them told me 2. And I was pissed. I'm still pissed about it, actually.
That sucks.
So I get out of my car right there because I'm losing my shit. And I go straight for Adam and Abe. I go right to the tower. And both of them are like, the rules say 3 laps. I'm like, I know the rules say 3 laps, but you have people down in the pit saying 2. And what I come to find out that Track Mod was told the same thing. And like there were all sorts of confusion in Track Mod. And one dude ended up going off due to it. And he ended up going from first to disqualified because the flag had him so freaking frazzled on what was getting shown to him. And the way this track works is a little goofy too, because you're actually in Boogey, you're full braking going through start finish, which, so it means if you're trying to set a lap, you may line up different. You know what I mean? If
you screw up the next lap,
you throw the next lap for it. And so this dude he's legitimately he's really pissed. Now, the reality of it is I ran a 37 flat. I ended up getting second. Okay. Which for the shit that we dealt with for the weekend, we cannot complain about a second place. Okay. If if we had a third lap, do I think it would have changed the outcome? I have to be real. I doubt it. All right. Ryan Matthews was on it and I wouldn't have had power steering. The chances of me having it were crazy low. Okay. So it would have been some sort of miracle lap that I pulled right out of my ass. And I just don't see it happening. So I don't think the outcome would have changed. So for me, it doesn't really matter. But the fact that there was so much confusion of these drivers getting told this stuff, that is the only time this weekend that I was like, come on, guys. Other than that, this event was so flawless. But that was a pretty ick spot of the event. And I'm kind of waiting for Gridlife to come out and say, hey, it was the first event. We dicked up. Sorry for anybody that might have got affected by that, but we haven't really heard anything yet.
That sucks. I'm glad you got second place given the circumstances. That's a well-earned second place, but
he's just the first loser.
Loser.
He's just the first loser.
But you know who didn't beat us? Jamie Santos, and that's all that matters because I could not handle that.
Why?
Oh, Jamie's such a shit talker. That was the guy who was putting the 580 stickers on cars and shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can't be losing to that. Okay, I love Jamie. He's got a 1 Series BMW now. He had his own issues. To his defense, and he did legitimately run a faster time than we did this weekend. Okay, he did get a faster time on the board than we did this weekend. It is his home track. He is crazy going over the kink curbing too. I don't think I could have went that speed through kink curbing like he did. That was sick.
He had a 135, right?
Yeah, he was mid 130s, and even Ryan Matthews was down to 118, 115, something like that.
Pretty nuts.
Dude, he was huge amounts of time there. Honestly, watching Jamie's lap, I know where I can make time now if I have, but there's no way I could attempt that if I didn't know if I could counter steer on the other side of it. You know what I mean?
So the BMW driver, is it like a white
Yes.
BMW? Okay, so I watched the live stream, and it looks like you were suffering, but in his defense, he took the access road to get out of your way.
No. I don't want to say Jamie's a good guy. I'm just talking shit.
Yeah.
He got out of the way. He's a good competitor. I don't want this. I don't wish any ill will towards Jamie.
No,
I'm not going to lie. There was fuel. Okay. Knowing Jamie was ahead of us was one of the biggest reasons that we said, screw it. We are going to swap this trans because we cannot let Jamie beat us.
Thrashing.
Yeah.
What let go in that?
You need that.
And
I
what?
know you
In
need
the
that.
trans, because you swapped out.
It was, I'll try to get a picture of it, but it's basically one of the things that the shift finger manipulates.
Oh, that's right. You did say that. It was
Yeah.
It's
And
the
it
shift
like
finger.
bent. The shift finger's fine. The shift finger like didn't give, something else did. And that's what it's going to be. But I mean, whatever.
Okay.
It is
So,
what it is.
Solid weekend.
No, so
Solid
now what
weekend.
we really got to talk about is our boy Jeremy Bailey. All right.
Oh, yeah.
FA24 swap BRZ. This man's been slaving pretty much on his own. I'm going to call him a team member, and he's one of my best friends. I love this guy absolutely love this guy to pieces. Stubborn as all hell. You can't tell this man anything, but it paid off for him. This weekend, grinding, hard work, saved a set of tires for the podium sprint, really put a lap together at the right
nice.
time, managed to nab his first win. And it wasn't against like weak competition. The last year's season winner was there too. Okay, so he was up against correct competition and won. So it not only is his first win, but that was a hard fought win.
It was a killer lap. It was.
It really
awesome to
was a
watch.
banger lap. And he also did it. He had his first session. He went out and his drive shaft let go, his carbon fiber drive shaft. So he stole the drive shaft out of my BRZ that I drove there and was racing on that. So he wasn't even.
Wow.
He probably was down, let's call it 3 to 5 horsepower is probably what he might have gained on that with a little bit of weight, but that's what he won on.
I texted Jeremy and told him not to break this one because I need it. Okay.
Jeremy does have
Priorities,
two
man.
at his house.
Yeah, he told me.
He just never thought with having, a really nice carbon drive shaft, why would I ever have to bring a drive shaft? This thing makes 200 horsepower. Why would I have to bring a drive shaft to the track?
It didn't even break at the carbon part. It was the knuckle.
Well, no, it wasn't even the knuckle part. It's the carbon. It's almost like they glue the carbon to the.
Oh, that was
so
the
it's
bonded.
just slipping
Yeah.
around the outside of it.
Yeah.
It's really weird how it died, man.
Yeah, okay, I remember him telling because I thought it was the knuckle, and I did ask him about it, and he said it was like the seal or like the adhesive they used to attach the knuckle to the drive shaft.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird.
Now,
weird.
when he bought this carbon drive shaft, didn't you say, man, you don't need that. You could spend your money better elsewhere. So
No.
I don't think it lasted that long, did it?
I did not say that to him.
Okay.
I might have even been one of the. He actively did not get drive shaft shop. He got another brand. I'm not going to sit here and bash the other brand. He actively got this other brand because he had heard negative things about drive shaft shop. I've been running their drive shaft for years and it's been great for me. And believe me, I try. It's been super solid for me, but he bought this other brand specifically because it was supposed to be the better brand. And they basically told him to pound sand.
How long did he have it for?
Couple of years, but that should not. Oh,
No.
Were we 2 years? When did he start getting really hardcore about it?
I think it's been a year or so.
Yeah.
And he only has 100 miles on it.
Yeah, he doesn't have much.
Yeesh.
Yeah, it's only seen, and not only that, it isn't like he's put a lot of it's not like he's cramming heaps of power through it either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's practically stock power. It is.
That's highly unacceptable. The way that
sucks.
failed. And basically they're just like, yeah, we're not really messing with that market anymore. So, fuck off. That was really what in essence, the email said. It was really shitty. So he just ordered a drive shaft shop, just so everybody knows.
Okay.
But what was really cool about him winning is it showed you don't have to spend $35,000 or you don't have to gut your $35,000 new BRZ to make this work. You can take a first gen, swap an FA24 in it for cheap and be competitive within this class. Like his car is still super simple. He doesn't have drop knuckles. He still he won with a normal drive shaft. He doesn't have an overly fancy wing. He made his uprights. You know,
Yep.
it's really, the link is helping, but like you can do this
You
with
put a
some
diff in it.
extraordinarily basic bolt-on stuff and win a class.
Yeah. Yeah. FA24 long block swap. So it's not one of those hybrid builds.
Yeah, it's
Put a
it's
link on
it's a
it.
full FA24. Like he bought a full damn engine, you know, the whole thing.
Yep. Put a better rear diff in it and
Hmm.
lightweight. And that was about it.
That was really
Cool.
about it. He really, really went hard with the weight though. Like
Mhm.
really hard with the weight. But he
did cut a lot
documented
out of it.
most of it. So if you guys, it's K Hunter 86.
No
And
more
I think, is it
K-swaps.
K underscore Hunter or just K Hunter on Instagram? But if you get a chance, check it out because he's documented this whole thing, and it's pretty good. He's been on the podcast before too. If you guys want to,
Subaru power. No more K swaps.
Yep.
Yeah, down with the K swap.
yeah, it was really nice seeing
So-
him above all that Honda shit. It was
So from seeing the group chats, you guys had a good weekend yourself, but then Bailey winning took it to the next level.
oh my
It
god.
did.
You were just
Okay,
ecstatic.
so we were parked with we pitted with Subi Mods. We're gonna be with them the whole year. So we also had Bucky Lassick with us, and he was running street mod in a car that had no right being in street mod. It wasn't even prepared for street really. But he was watching the live cast with us, and it was really cool that like we all went nuts when Bailey won. Bucky was running around, we're running around, we're all, oh my god. Dude, that's why I don't have a voice, screaming at him. Like, dude, we lost our shit. We carried him to the podium. Like, it was so
Yes.
good, dude. It was
Sick.
so good. It like, yeah, he's a stubborn old bastard, but he worked his ass off to get there. And he definitely rates that win. And dude, God, we were so excited. Just before I went out for podium sprint too, Bucky Lassick found it appropriate to moon me. So I have seen Bucky Lassick's ass. That happened. So I don't know if that puts me in a special like club or something, but I have definitely seen that man's ass now. Revenge is going to be
degrees of
sweet. I'm thinking
separation.
about bat winging him.
What is bad winging?
It's shit's going to get weird, man.
Right.
He's going to be at more events though, and it was really cool hanging out with Bucky. He's really just one of the guys. So if I can't recommend this enough, if you are even track curious, come to these Gridlife events, especially I think Subi Mods is going to be at almost all of them. Come to the Gridlife events and come hang out at the Subi Mods booth. That's why it's there. And we're going to be there at most of them. Bucky will be there at a whole bunch of them. We got some really big plans of cool stuff we're going to be giving away and things of that nature. It's going to be really cool. So we're going to have a good time. We want not only people who are interested in, our competitors or whatever to come by, but track curious people or just people who, like, loosely follow it. Come to the event, come hang out. That's why we're doing it. And we got a lot of cool stuff going on, and Bucky's down to hang and we're down to hang, and Bailey, myself, Bucky, we basically sat up at the front of that booth almost the entire day, just shooting shit with people for like 3 days straight. And it was a great
Nice.
time.
Sounds like a great time.
Met a
So-
ton of super cool people.
So is
Online coverage.
Subi Mods doing like a internal competition?
Yeah, they're doing this thing called shit. I'm gonna screw this name up. It's like Flat 4 Showdown.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I gotta be real. I don't 100% exactly know how it works, but basically, if you enter into anything Flat 4 Showdown is helping sponsor or being a part of, which is more than just Gridlife events. I think the autocross at the Subaru, like the Subi Fest events, count. So like Wicked Big Meat and Subi Fest Midwest and all of that, those will also count as things. And in the end, they're doing some sort of drawing and you win something. which is pretty cool. And I think you get more entries if you like win or, you know, whatever. I do not quote me on these rules yet because I'm still trying to understand them. But the idea is really cool. We got some cool stuff coming. He even heard me about track buckets, so you know, stand by for that too.
Some track
buckets, dude. He was like, "That's a great idea," and I'm like,
That's right.
"I know it is, because it's about buckets. Youngbloods don't
buckets.
understand."
So circling back about your power steering pump,
Yes.
it sounds to me like it's a over amp or voltage problem.
Okay.
So whenever it's asking for more power, it's that alternator is probably overloading the circuit and kills it.
Maybe.
I think that's what that's
Maybe
happening.
it's like a power request that the pump itself can't even handle.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It very well could be, but we got a fix coming.
I think that's what it sounds like.
I ordered a Porsche Cup
Yeah,
power steering pump.
What?
I was
Yes.
going to go into what we were going to do to fix it, and that's what we're doing to fix it. The whole weekend we were researching stuff, asked a bunch of people, yada, 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 and this is what came back out the other side that made the most sense. And this is kind of crazy, but we found this weird Polish dude who like rebuilds these pumps,
Nice.
and the price was ungodly reasonable. So if it works, I'm going to order an extra one just so we have it. Just so we have a spare
Excellent.
ready to go. But the concept of it is it runs so much more pressure. And the problem we think we were also running into is the 2015 rack. Basically the upper level of the Volvo pump, the way upper level of the Volvo pump is the lower level of what the 2015 rack is set up for.
Gotcha.
So we think it's not, if we would have maybe been running an 05 STI rack, we probably would have been fine. But the 15 rack, because it's a quick rack and it's already pretty rough on OEM steering pumps. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but 15 plus STIs tend to eat power steering pumps.
I ate a power steering line last year.
There you go. I mean, because they're requesting a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about pump issues, but I know that they would have issues with the rack itself. So,
well, I mean, that's, again, a lot of this is due to piles of pressure. Okay. It's a faster
totally.
rack. And when you do that, to make that work correctly and the effort not go up a ton, pressures have to go up a lot.
this just goes to show you that STI specifically did a lot of cool things for the STI level cars. that
Yes.
aren't found like in the WRX. So
Mhm.
WRX has always had electric power steering.
Well,
and-
no, VA WRX has had electric power steering.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, you're right. But prior to that, well, okay, so STI upgraded the rack for 15, which was the VA generation. But prior to that, did they have the same steering racks as the WRX?
No, they were always slightly faster, but not anywhere near like they
That's-
are now.
That's what I thought.
Basically, old WRX racks were basically the same thing as a Forester.
Okay. Okay. Oh, actually, that makes a lot of sense for
Yep.
next episode.
Oh, when we
So,
start talking
all
about
right.
swappy stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, that day's
All
coming.
right. So I do want to ask about coverage or comment on coverage.
Yes.
So I watched your shootout laps on the live stream
Yes.
in Graham's RV, and the live stream quality was excellent. I don't remember it being this good,
It
but I
wasn't.
always wanted it to be this good.
Okay, long
It's a
story
lot better
short,
this year.
I hats off. I'm on another podcast also. I'm sure some of you guys have heard this. It's called Heat Exchanger. We tend to deal with more time attack oriented and Gridlife oriented topics. It's not a Subaru oriented thing. We had the new CEO, Mike, on Heat Exchanger, and this was right after all the Gold Pass shenanigans or whatever. But Mike after he sorted that problem out, started dropping hints that like there's a lot of changes coming this year. What you are seeing is the direct influence of Mike. He kind of gave us a tour through a bunch of the live stream like
The
trailer
studio.
thing. And
It's the broadcasting studio.
yeah, the broadcasting studio. It's incredible here. I'm going to grab this picture and put it in the chat. And the chat I'm talking about is our Discord. If you guys ever want to listen to us live, sign up to for our IAG Thursday thing, or IAG Performance Discord. And what the F? That's not what I wanted to do.
Here, I can find it.
So while you're doing that, the co-announcer for the shootout was Ito Waxman.
Yes!
He did a really good job.
Dude, Ito
He knew.
slayed it. Now, this is the
Yes.
thing I don't want this to be a slam. When I say this is nothing against Kyle, and this is nothing against Greg. Okay, both of those guys are awesome. And on GLTC, I don't think anybody could do better. Okay, and they're phenomenal at it.
Yep.
Time attack is its own thing. And you need somebody who really understands time attack. And Ito understands time attack. And
Yes,
Ito
he did a great job.
killed it. It just literally knocked it out of the park. We actually had a whole conversation on the Gridlife Discord today about how good Ito did. Yeah, that's the picture from inside of the
Of
rig.
the control booth. Yeah, that looks like a professional control booth.
It is.
Because it is.
You want to hear
There's a million
an even funnier
screens.
thing that I'm not sure I'm supposed to share, but I'm going to anyway? They're
for it.
$20,000 cheaper per event.
What?
Man, ooh.
They so much better and way cheaper than their old stuff.
Well, that's
And
good for
so,
them.
according to Kyle,
Oh.
too, half of the graphics that, or I shouldn't say half, a bunch of the graphics that they wanted to implement, unfortunately, didn't get it. Like broke some other stuff, and they didn't have a chance to like try to sort it out for this event,
Yeah,
but didn't get
fine.
done. But so it's. What I'm trying to get at is, as good as this was and as easy as it was to follow, even my parents were able to follow what was going on in Time Attack, which is incredible.
They did
It's
a
only
way
going to
better
get
job.
better.
So compared to themselves, it
Yes.
was $20,000 cheaper than their previous setup.
Yeah,
Which is amazing.
That's amazing.
Mike.
You never get that where the quality goes up and the cost goes down at the same time.
No, and
That's
it wasn't a small quality jump either. It was a giant
No.
one.
It was fine before, but it was hard to follow. And this was high quality and easy to follow.
Yes. And the fact that
So-
the guys that are in that booth know which cars to follow, know, they're on top of it. They kind of have their shit together with this. I don't know if maybe those people are more motorsports fans or they just know a little bit more about cars or whatever. But they were following the right cars at the right time with the right angles and just really understood what was going on. And even Kyle was saying, he's like, they were ahead of me on like yellow flags and all sorts of stuff.
Wow.
Now, one of the
Yeah.
other things we kind of lost since last year is Race Hero went under.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that, but you can't go to Race Hero and get live updates anymore. Now, there was another thing. It was like,
I was using Speed Hive.
Speed Hive, yeah. So people are using Speed Hive, but Speed Hive's a little odd and whatever. It sounds like over the weekend they kind of accidentally made Race Hero again. So there might be a Gridlife exclusive like Race Hero. Like they built Race Hero for Gridlife because they needed a way for people to have live updates of what was going on as they were coming in. So they
also
like
built Torque Hub
they-
for Gridlife.
Well, Torque Hub is its own thing, but it'll be its own Race Hero.
Oh.
Torque Hub
I
is
thought-
just
but
like the
Grid-
ticketing system.
But they built it for Gridlife, right? It's the Gridlife people.
No,
No.
Torque Hub is its own company that works with Gridlife, but they work with Formula
Okay.
D and a bunch of other things too.
Okay, I misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
so
So-
but like the broadcasting studio, I guess, like accidentally made Race Hero essentially. Like they
Wow.
have the data all in one spot and it's presented in the way that they need it to be presented. They're now like, we need to make this an app form and just make it easy to get to.
It'd be beautiful.
And it'd be
I
by
would-
Gridlife for Gridlife. How sick would that be?
It'd be amazing.
So over the years, Gridlife has run other events such as Speed Ring.
Yeah.
I would love to see a return of something like that because now it seems like they have all the steps.
Oh my God, dude.
So-
Could you imagine what Speed Ring would look like now?
Oh, it'd be incredible.
It'd be
So many
ridiculous.
people showed up.
It'd be ridiculous.
So yeah. they got the hype. They've got the driver stories. Oh my god. So
Well,
going back
now
to
going back
Ito-
to this, seriously, Ito, there's a big push, at least from all of the drivers and anybody who's been watching, and from some behind the scenes, and I don't know what else is going on, to try to get Ito to be like a constant figure with Gridlife. He's like, I had such a riot doing it, I didn't even care if I was competing or not.
He did an awesome job.
I was watching the live stream with Graham and Chris, and we're watching your car. And as soon as we say something, Ito says it on the live stream. It was uncanny how accurate he was all the time. He said exactly what we wanted to hear at the right time, such as, "Oh, he's having issues. He's turning in too early." That's exactly what we were saying. We were watching you. Or, "I bet he's turned it all the way up." He absolutely was.
Yes.
Well, I think it's because he knows what he's looking
but
for.
the reason it's that way is because Ito understands time attack.
Right.
Okay. And Ito understands, he understands the mindset, but he also understands the builds. Ito has a technical mind for this, and time attack is very technical. You have to understand the builds, the classing. You have to understand how these builds are put together and how they work. And Ito has that. Okay. Ito has the right mind for it. Not only that, when he talks about it, he can talk about it with enthusiasm. And in terms that my mom even understands. If my mom can sit there and watch this and she doesn't watch any motorsports and understand what's going on, and my mom be smart enough to say, why didn't you run a third lap? That's huge.
No.
My mom.
That's amazing.
That's what I'm saying.
They kept saying on the stream too that it was supposed to be 3 laps.
Yeah, but they presented that information in a way that made sense.
Yeah, right.
And that's something that's not easy to do.
See, I wonder if the guys telling you that it was 2 hot laps were just used to last year's format.
No, it's the way they explained it. So I'm going to say what they said again. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Outlap, green flag, checker. What they were thinking is what you're going to see at the end of your lap.
Right.
But then when I said it is that 1 or 2 hot laps, it confused them.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Because then they're like, that's 2 green flag. But really, that checker lap was green flag 2 checker. That was also a hot lap. So to I'm pretty sure they got told to say it just like that. Probably. That's how it was explained to them. So that's not something, the terminology was identical between guy at the front and random dude telling me this.
Yeah, so probably they were told like that.
So it was probably a team meeting to say this is how this runs. Okay, and unfortunately there was some lost in translation. Now, with that stated, it's the first event. Okay. Yep. I'm going to cut them some slack. The format changed. Things are goofy. They're going to get it sorted. And in the grand scheme of things, it could have went a whole lot worse. To me, I want to look at this as a net positive still with how good the live stream turned out. The things that I was worried about with the with podium sprint not being 2 laps individually and now being just everybody goes out at the same time, but they still managed to check out all the cars and say a little something about each one and give them their own little piece. Right. I think they did a very good job of. Like, I have to be real. I think they did good. And overall, I think they did a very good job. They're going to fix the format problem. The explanation's going to get done better. We're going to have power steering. And we're going to go on and hopefully, I'm very hopeful of really good results in the near future. Now, yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
So how are your tires?
I can't. So everybody keeps asking me, hey, how are these Vitura P1 whatevers? Okay. Long story short, I can't tell you because if I don't have power steering, I'm not feeling the tires. You know what I mean? I no point could I ever really push it to see what the limit felt like. So here's what I will say. I wholeheartedly feel that there is a massive amount of potential there. Okay. They really like a really hard warm-up lap. But they seem to be on right away after that hard warm-up lap. But I feel like my second lap might be faster than my first. So it might, but I think it's going to be an absolute burner of a second lap. So I'm still up in the air if I like them more than RE71 RSs. I couldn't tell you that right now. I don't know because I got to be real. I didn't get to drive them to the limit. So I don't know. But
Okay.
I feel the potential. So that's kind of where I'm going to go with it.
Do you think you got the hopping fixed in the suspension?
We went in the right direction.
Okay.
It's significantly better. Is it fixed? No. Is it not fixed because we've been trying other things to fix it? Maybe. You know what I mean? Like we went too far trying to fix a problem. And then we might have actually nailed the right thing. I am very hopeful for a lot of different things. It was so much easier to drive around this time. But once again, there were some things that I couldn't do that I normally would be able to do because I did not have power steering. So I was taking angles that I normally wouldn't take. So there's a little
hard to
data
say for
missing
sure.
on that too.
Yeah. Did you have the newest brakes set up on the car? Or
No,
was that
we just
after?
got them. Like literally when we were on the way home, Dylan got told the brakes showed up. So
of course, after the event.
we have a lot of really wild shit coming before Road Atlanta.
Dude, Road Atlanta's gonna be so fun.
Road Atlanta's going to
That's
be
your next
wild,
event?
but we've got to
It's gonna
get
be
some
nuts.
shit fixed. That Porsche Cup power steering unit needs to get in because I got to be real. If we were at Road Atlanta and I was having these problems, which is what would have ended up happening,
Might have died.
I would have parked the car. I absolutely like that track will kill you. I would have parked the car. So that is priority numero uno, the absolute top priority. Power steering's got to get fixed. Sequential's going in. Okay. Very excited about this too. Sequential's going in and we think we're going to add a front diff at the same time. We're having conversations about different types of diffs we want to look into. What I thought was going to be something simple turned into a giant debate with like 3 or 4 of my favorite people. So when all of the greatest minds come together and none of them can agree, that's always fun. So we'll see where that goes. We may have a little bit of aero by then. I doubt it. We're hoping to have the electronic wastegate set up by then. Again, kind of doubt that'll be done too. But the steering, and we'll have the new EBC brakes. And we think we're going to add optional brake cooling. We actually could have used brake cooling at this track. That's the first time I've said that, and I don't know when.
Front and rear, or just front?
Just front.
Okay.
We're gonna add some like plug kind of thing that we could remove and then have some brake ducts going back to the brakes. But we need some sort of like plug-ish thing that we can, take in and pull out. So like Road America, we're not going to need it. But this track like was just absolutely horrifically gnarly on brakes. And it didn't give them a chance to cool down. It's honestly, it's a lot like Gingerman. Gingerman is just really nasty to brakes.
So there's a picture of your car with the rotors that were glowing.
Just glowing. Yeah.
Fantastic. Return to form.
Yep. We're back at it, kids. The changes we made to the brake lines really worked. Like the brakes feel significantly better than they ever have. So
that was fixing a small leak in the hard lines, right?
Yeah, it was. There's a whole story behind that, but we had some stuff that we kind of like last minuted last year, trying to get some things together, and we kind of redid it significantly more correctly, because we had like a week for parts to get to us this time, so we could get the right shit instead of cobbling stuff together. And we deleted something that we actually think was doing some brake biasing that we want to make sure was not there because we want the ABS unit doing all the brake biasing.
You've got, call it 3 weeks until Road Atlanta.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like
roughly.
Are
Yep.
you planning to go to the Rev Up at Gingerman or skip that one?
We don't have tickets for that. Honestly, I don't. Rev Up and that's only an HPD. That is not, there's no points or anything for that. It's not time attack.
Oh, okay.
It's also
That's good to
pretty
know.
close. I know Taco Day is the same week.
Yeah.
The Rev Up's like the week before or something like that.
I just don't. There's too much going on in too short period of time
well,
for us to get that
that's a
done.
lot of traveling. You're going all the way up to Michigan just to go back down to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm just asking to ask. It's
Yep.
the week after Road Atlanta. Taco Track Day is 4 days before
Yeah.
Yeah.
Atlanta.
I wanted to do that so bad too, but it doesn't make sense if I'm going to Atlanta.
Really what I want to do is I want to get this car right on the sequential, doing what it needs to do by Gingerman Midwest Fest. I think I've never felt better about maybe going there and having a serious swing at that sub 130.
I would love to see that, man. That's your event. That's your favorite event.
That is the event. So that's our Daytona. That's
Midwest.
kind of our CMP wrap up, really. I think Dylan is just now starting to wake up from it. Dude, he worked his ass off this weekend. Like, hey, Dylan does not get talked about enough for the amount that he works on that fucking thing because he slaved on that bitch. And honestly, I was ready to like, dude, I'm going to bed. Let's just call it and say fuck it for the weekend. And he's like, nope, Jamie's beating us. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
And I wish I
Dylan's
could have
not
gone.
quit.
I could have helped,
Yep.
but I had other things to do, sadly.
Yeah, it is what it is.
That's how it goes, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And honestly,
Dylan's
it was
got
just
absolutely no
supposed to
quit.
be
He doesn't sleep.
it was just supposed to be a shakedown.
A shakedown, right? Yeah.
And it ended up not being a shakedown.
No.
Shook trees is what you did.
We
so.
shook some shit. But dude, the crowd was great. Anybody who walked up to us during that, said, hey, we've been listening to the podcast or whatever, means the world to us. The amount of people who came up and were like, dude, you're the reason I built a GC. I just want to hug you people. You were the best. So that area was really cool. The vibes are incredible and I can't recommend it enough. Next year, we're going to go back and we're going to get revenge. And I have a hard time believing we can't set the record there without killing ourselves too much. So
I'm a big fan of how Subi Mods did their social media.
Dude,
made
slayed it,
look
right?
Really cool.
Slayed it, right? But that's just it. It was cool. All they did was just capture the vibe of what was going on.
It's right there in
Ryan,
front of them.
their like main photographer guy, also a GC guy, by the way.
Super.
He just understood it. I don't know. I have no other way of saying that. He really just understood his assignment. You know what I mean? Catch the vibe of what's happening. And he did a really good job of it. That partnership's going to be great all year. We're going to have so much fun in that damn booth. I hope everybody listening to this slides by. So.
Yeah. Well, cool. I won't be there for Road Atlanta, but I am planning to be there for Midwest Festival and then maybe for Road America up in Wisconsin.
You got to, maybe you can go to Mid-Ohio. I mean, that's where the axe murderers go.
Mid-Ohio, end of June. I'll have to check my calendar, but lots of work to keep me busy this year.
Yeah,
so I'll
but
do
you
my
got
best.
Saturday and Sunday, and all the racing happens, like the finals happen on Sunday now.
Yeah, it's more spread
I'm
out.
going to do my best.
Okay.
'Cause, I'd like to help, and I know you appreciate me.
I love you being there. You keep my mental sanity.
Yep.
All right. So
any last closing thoughts?
Not really. I wish you guys could have been there, but it was a really good time. And anybody who slid by, I love you guys to pieces. So on that note, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. And we will catch you next time.